Wow. Just just wow. Um hey guys, Pie Guy Rules here, and I'm a little frazzled tonight because I wasn't planning on doing this. And it's very late and I have to be up early tomorrow, but the Legend of Korra series finale just happened. I just watched it, and by happened I mean it was uploaded onto the internet because Nickelodeon. Um, I was very much blown away by a lot of things in that finale, and I really need to talk about them. Um, and I do plan on doing a Korra Book 4 review, but with SpongeBob and Christmas and other stuff, I don't know when that's going to be. That's probably going to be late June, late January, maybe early February even before I have the time to do that. Um, and there's plenty of stuff to talk about in season 4 as a whole. So I figure, well, I'm just gonna do this TV log tonight. I'm just gonna talk about the finale. There's gonna be spoilers. Please, if you have any interest in watching it, don't listen to me first. Go watch it. It's up, available now, free on Nick.com, for the time being, anyway. um, but I had to talk about it just because. Wow. All right, so let me get the thing out of the way. The thing that I didn't like, and this is more of a problem with this season as a whole. Um, the giant mech suit just doesn't. It just didn't click with me in terms of fitting with Avatar. And I'm not saying that mech suits or whatever, don't work with Avatar, because clearly we've seen mech suits all throughout this series. We've seen some of that kind of technology even in the first series. But as a final boss for Korra, a giant mech just doesn't seem right. For the ending of the Avatar verse, if it is at least the ending of this big chapter in the Avatar verse, it just doesn't seem right to have the big bad be a robot, or not a robot, but a mech suit. It just doesn't fit. Because I watched the show. I mean, you want to see bending, right? That's the thing that the show has. And sure, Kuvera was bending to control the robot, but to me that just wasn't enough. And yes, of course they do get a little battle at the end, but I don't think. I mean, that battle was clearly nowhere near as epic as Aang's and Ozai's, and I have to compare them because you have to. That battle was inconsequential. I mean, the real final boss was just the big mech, and I do like that. What I did like about that was that everyone was coming together to fight it, and I think had Korra been doing something else, had Korra been squaring off with Kuvira or someone else, off somewhere else, while everyone else was trying to take down this giant mech suit with this, big destroying arm laser cannon, I think that would work. I'd be perfectly okay with that. Because that's kind of how the Avatar finale ended up anyway, in that Toph, Sokka, and Suki had to go take out the airships and that kind of stuff. Because I did like a lot of that stuff when they were disarming the big thing and having to battle within the thing. I thought that worked well, but I just feel like as a final battle for the Avatar, it needed to be more bending intensive. And again, this probably goes back to the budgetary reasons, as everything else does in this season. That just the budget. They obviously they couldn't have done an epic fight like Aang versus Ozai. It just wasn't in the cards. Not that what we got with Korra and don't even Kuvira. Not that it was like terrible, but that wasn't the focus. The focus was taken on the big mech. So that would be kind of my biggest complaint, is just that it should have been a human versus human fight, and Kuvira should have been really awesome. Yeah, and like I said, that's a problem, kind of with the way this season had been structured. How Kuvira wasn't. A lot of what was set up with her was like us hearing that she is just really powerful and really cool, and not as much seeing her be really powerful and really cool. All right, so that's the negative. That is what I have to say. That could have been done a lot better. But in terms of the positives, God, where do I even start talking about this episode? I guess I'll just break it down per character, because the thing about Korra at this point is the show has become such a crazy ensemble cast, which is good because Korra herself is not very interesting, and even at this point in the end, she's still not very interesting. She's more interesting than she was, but she's not crazy interesting. She's definitely not my favorite character on the show. Not probably even my in my top 10 favorite characters on the show with her name in the title. All right, so let's start with my favorite character. Definitely by the end of the series, he's my favorite character, Varrick. So Varrick and Zhu Li, throughout the entire thing, they're working on machines. They're trying to come up with solutions to stop the thing, and of course, there's the tension between Zhu Li and Varrick is starting to realize that he has feelings for her and that kind of stuff. And then it's all resolved with the marriage at the end. I felt that was handled fantastically. They were both given great things to do despite being non-benders, and that's something that the original series always kind of struggled with. I mean, Sokka was always cool, but like, when it comes to battles, it was always a little bit tough for what to do with the non-bender. But I think that they did a great job of giving them stuff to do, and I couldn't be happier with how they ended up. I love everything about their arc in this season, particularly. I think it went very well. And then going along with that, Asami and her dad, same thing. They had stuff to do, and of course, Asami's dad had to have his big heroic moment, heroic redemption, sacrifice redemption. And I saw it coming. Of course, it's a little bit predictable, but that doesn't mean it's any less tragic and meaningful when it does happen. I still thought it was a pretty powerful moment. And something that should happen. There should be at least one death in the finale here. I think it just kind of, with a cast this big, it just kind of had to happen. So I very much like that, and I'll get to Asami more at the end. So I like that. With Mako and Bolin, Mako got kind of shelled. He would be the one character of the more important characters that kind of didn't get so much to do, just because the season wasn't about him. The season was about the Earth Kingdom, really. And Bolin and Varrick, who's not Earth Kingdom, but kind of Earth King. I don't know. He travels, so he can be anything. But with the Beifong family, and all of that, so Mako kind of got sidelined with Wu a lot. And he did with this, but he got to have his one really epic moment with Lightning. And that scene was really cool. Like, that was just cool. I don't really know what sense it made, because Bolin pretty much said all you had to do is mash buttons on the machine for the thing to explode. But Mako's like, no, I'm gonna lightning this. But it was cool. It was cool. So he got something awesome to do. And Bolin was right there by his side. It was cool to see those two fighting side by side. And Bolin was very important throughout this entire thing. So again, him getting sidelined a little bit too with Mako is all right. So then there's Tenzin and his family. Mostly the air nomads just kind of flew around. But they were important and distracting. Kuvira and the kids all got to do something. They were involved, and the airbenders were involved and everything. And Tenzin even got wounded at one point, of course. You think for a second, oh man, he's going, no, okay, he's fine. So, they didn't get a ton to do, but they were definitely in the fight. Same thing with Lin and her sister. I can never remember Lin's sister's name, but they got to go in the robot. They got to disable the arm cannon, or detach the arm cannon, or break the machine, basically. So that was cool. Korra herself, again, she was just kind of she was like, she was alone. Like, everyone else kind of had their group. She was just kind of bouncing around. She did some cool things. She froze the robot at one point. I'm gonna call it a robot. It's not a robot. But she froze it. She got to have her battle. I think really the most interesting thing she got was her little chat with Kuvira, about what it's like to be vulnerable. I think that was kind of the best moment from Korra in this entire finale, which is a little messed up, but I like that moment as well. I'm trying to think. This is tough because I didn't watch this planning on talking about it. But yeah, like, everyone got something to do in the action sequence, and everyone kind of had their own like little thing going on. Even Baltar Jr. I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly. Even he got his little moment of redemption of my God, what have I done? Even he got that, and I would have been nice to kind of see one last meeting between him and Kuvira. It would have been nice for Kuvira to have explained herself, really, because by gosh, that is cold-hearted. I mean, man. Oh, and I guess I should also say Korra had a pretty cool moment with the with saving Kuvira towards the end. That was a pretty cool moment. And when the gun was spinning around, created the new portal, that was a pretty epic moment. For a second, I mean, it definitely wants you to believe that Korra's gonna die in the Avatar state. That like it had me going for a second. I'm like, is this how the show is gonna end? Is this how I kind of want the show to end with Korra dying? No. That'd be stupid. Could you imagine, though, if Korra died in the Avatar state and that was the finale? Like, well, I guess the world doesn't need an Avatar anymore. Whatever. Prince Wu will lead us all. Speaking of Prince Wu, I don't like him. I don't like him because he's an annoying stereotype character. We've seen him a million times before. You know, the prince, the emperor, the king, who is just spoiled beyond belief and incredibly selfish and has to learn a lesson. And, of course, becomes less selfish by the end, and of course he did become less selfish by the end. But even him who I didn't like, he still kind of he was a lot more likable in this end here. I could definitely start to like him a little more of as a character. Not his singing though. I mean, even like Pema, even Tenzin's wife, I was gonna say that. Even she had something to do in this, and she doesn't do anything in this series. She has a baby. That's all she does. But even she, was given some little piece of responsibility in this whole thing. And I think that's the thing, is that even though Korra didn't really have too many moments of her own to shine, the series is, at the end, I guess, it's over now. It was an ensemble show. And so everyone did get something to do. No matter how big or how small, even Milo's line, like, they got something to do. I give them props for that, for incorporating just as many characters as they possibly could into this. And I mean, even Bolin and Mako's cousin, was with Prince Wu and Pema, and even he got a little something to do. It's cool. And I think that's really what kind of made this awesome, was that they did manage to finally use all these characters in the right way. Having a whole season where you're bouncing around from Korra to Mako and Wu to Bolin and Varrick to Julie and Kuvira to this and that. It finally felt like things were unified at the end there. So yeah, and there was wall-to-wall action in this entire thing, which is what I've been sorely missing out this entire season. And of course, it's probably because of the budget cuts. Let's all be real, Nick cut the budget hard. I mean, the fact they had to do a clip show, like, that should tell you how hard they cut the budget. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, and we need to say what it is. We need to critique what it is. We need to acknowledge that it is what it is. Even if the writers have this excuse, even if the creators have this excuse, even if this is a legitimate reason why the show didn't turn out this great, we still have to acknowledge, that this season especially was just lacking in the action. But I think they were definitely saving it up for this finale, and this finale did not disappoint in that aspect. So I guess then the last thing I have to talk about, and this is a biggie. The Korra and Asami thing. Like, I'm not usually a shipper. I'm really not. And I'm especially not really a shipper of gay couples in cartoons, mostly because it's just not a thing that's allowed to happen. It's stupid, but I don't really, like, when I do ship, I don't like to ship characters that I know just have no chance because of the show's format. But all through this season, I mean, you'd have to be blind to not see it from the very beginning, that there is a definite connection between Asami and Korra. And what's partially tough about this is because we don't see so many strong female friendships, in shows and in cartoons and live action shows and anything. So I was hesitant at first to say it was something because I'm like, well, I mean, they could just be friends, you know? Just because they're really friendly with each other, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. But of course, as it went on a little longer, it seemed to be like, all right, well, they want to do this, but this is as far as they can go with the hinting. And then that finale, when they're just sitting there, and I'm like, really, is the show going to end with them just kind of sitting there? And then they're like, let's go on vacation. And then they start walking off, and then the hand holding, and then, I mean, even more than that was that when they went to the spirit portal, they were like an inch away from each other. That's fantastic. I am thoroughly happy with that because it was such a pleasant surprise after, especially after the clip show where it kind of implied Mako was going to get back with Korra maybe. I was very, very happy that they chose this option. You know, I thought that was really, I think it's cool from just from a story standpoint of, you know, after all the stupid love triangle stuff we got hit with, for her to end up with Bolin, or her to end up with Mako, or Mako end up with Asami, or something like that, it would just feel just so cheap and stupid, and just like, all right, we've seen this, you know, we've been round this merry-go-round, I don't want to see it again. You know, so it was really cool to kind of have them take an option like that. And of course, it's cool from the standards of, this doesn't happen. You know, this is, but this is Avatar. This is Korra. This is breaking the mold. This is doing whatever they want to do. Although, a small piece of me has a slight worry that maybe this Korra Asami thing is why Nickelodeon didn't air this season, like, or last season. Like, I just. That's probably not the case. That's probably, if Nickelodeon had a big problem with this, they would have put the kibosh on it early on. They wouldn't have let it get to animation, unless the creators were really tricky about it. And they were, in a way. You know, let's be fair there. But it worries me. But I mean, hey, listen, if that's what it took to do this, to not necessarily, I guess, make them a couple in the end, that, you know, they couldn't kiss or whatever, but to so heavily imply that you'd have to be, blind as a badger mole to not see it. If that's what it takes to get the show off of television and onto the internet for that to happen, then maybe it was worth it. Yeah. And I do have to give it up to the creators for just being very, very sneaky about it. In terms of being able to appease Nickelodeon and the media watchdogs, or whoever decides that apparently being gay is a horrible, horrible thing. You know, it's not without its problems, certainly, but I think this finale was very good. I think it was definitely a good finale of the season. I think it was a solid way to send off the series. And definitely my favorite part of season 4. But you'll hear my thoughts about in full about season 4 in about a month or two. Pie Guy Rules out.